Welcome to Real Estate Game Changers Radio, featuring real estate trendsetters and industry influencers, sharing tips and strategies to help home buyers and home sellers get the most out of their next real estate transaction. Now, here's your host, Suzanne Doyle Ingram.
This is your host, Suzanne Doyle Ingram, with Real Estate Game Changers Radio, and I am so happy to have a wonderful guest on the show today. He lives in the Bay Area, and he's been living there for his whole life, and what I think is really neat about him is he graduated with a major degree in anthropology and theoretical linguistics, so can't wait to chat a little bit about that. He is just a wonderful realtor, great reputation, super energetic, funny, kind person. He feels that he's almost, when I was speaking with him before the interview, he's kind of like a mixture of an attorney, a therapist, and a tour guide, because he really guides his clients through the process of buying real estate. His name is David Zabarte, and I would love to welcome him to the show. Thanks for being on the show, David.
Oh, thanks for having me, Suzanne.
Oh, it's great that you carved out the time, because I know you're very, very busy, and it was very difficult to get this time. But here we are now. So I want to start off with right away with, what do you love about your career in real estate, David?
Well, I think that's a great question. Real estate seems to drive a lot of people from various industries into it. I know people from all different kinds of backgrounds, and then, they find themselves selling real estate. I got into it a lot because, I kind of came from a little bit of an educational background, and I was attracted to kind of the diversity of skill sets that selling real estate allows. And for me, I love it that it's an area of business that keeps me challenged and allows me to develop my skills on, all these different multiple levels.
Yeah.
I get to work on my people skills constantly, continuously.
Oh, I bet. Well, you work with all different
yes.
kinds of people, so you never know what you're going to get on a daily basis, right?
Right. Well, if you think about the people who are buying and selling, a lot of times they're from all different backgrounds as well, and they're from all different age ranges. We work with people who are in their, early 20s sometimes, which is, really surprising that, there are people in their 20s who are buying or maybe own properties, and
right.
They have needs. Same things with seniors, and my partner Simon Watson and I, we're by referral for a good part of our business. So we work with all different age ranges, and and the backgrounds of people are always fascinating to me. So I get to work on those kind of things, but I also get to polish my understanding of the real estate process while I'm practicing, because the environment is always changing, over time.
Yeah.
So it keeps me on my toes.
Absolutely.
I get to work on my skills with negotiation and diplomacy. I get to work on all the different understandings of technology that keeps changing. When I got into the business, there was a lot of the tools that we now have, just they weren't around, and I got to see these come into the industry and change the industry.
Yeah. Now, how long have you been in the business?
I started in the beginning of 2005, so really before the crash, and I got to see the market going crazy.
Yeah,
it was a time where really anybody who could fog a mirror could get a loan and go buy a house.
Right. You have a pulse?
A very different time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the climate changed rapidly.
It's amazing how it's changed, especially with the marketing and all the social media and the drones and everything. I mean, you didn't have that in 2005. In only 11 years.
Yeah, there's been a lot of changes, because the internet, that's been a complete, change to the entire industry. There's a lot of, old war veterans, who are still, selling real estate. And for a lot of them, it's been a little bit of a difficult transition because of how it's changed the landscape.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Clients now have a lot of tools that they just didn't have before. In the past, the realtor was the gatekeeper for all things, related to the sales of real estate. And you had to go, you had to get in their car and they could say, look, we're going to go see these houses and which one do you want to buy? And now that's just not the case. Now, potential clients are calling up and they're already armed with, properties that they want to see, and they've done their research. They can go on to Google Street View and they can, virtually look at what the neighbor's house looks like. They can see, is this kind of a neighborhood that I want to be in? They can look and see what's the distance to the grocery store that I want to go to. Is there a playground nearby? They don't necessarily need the local knowledge of the realtor like they used to. Now, there's still people who, they are looking specifically for an agent who can tell them, oh yeah, this is a great, park over here, or whatever local knowledge that the agent can provide. But there's a lot that they can do online that they just weren't able to do. There was no access for that kind of information in the past, and the tools just get better and better. So
yeah, but I think that
much different.
Yeah, that's very true that they're able to research quite a bit of that local stuff. And I think what's interesting is sometimes people get misguided because they think, oh, now I don't need a realtor. But in fact, they need a realtor more than ever to navigate all the legal parts of it, all the different ways of understanding and negotiating a contract and everything like that.
That's very true. So, there's a little bit of a misconception about what it is that the realtor does. And that's something that, I think I read some report about kind of the rankings of jobs. And the last one that I remember around real estate was that, people's appreciation of our job, kind of fell below that of the used car salesman.
Oh, that's terrible.
And I think it is terrible because, what we do is so radically different from most sales jobs. I don't have a book that I open and go, okay, well, here's the specs on this particular model. Yeah. Short of agents who are selling, new developments, where there are model homes, I'm out there to, one, promote the idea of home ownership. And, the products that we get to sell, they come on and they go off the market, and a lot of times, each one of those is a one-off situation. Yeah. Even homes that were built in subdivisions that all have similar floor plans, when somebody's lived in that home for 30, 40, 50 years, they might have done all kinds of different, personalizations to the home, additions, and, so each home is like a fingerprint. Exactly. And so, the idea that, I can, sell a cheaper copy machine and have that, equate to, what we do with home sales it doesn't really add up. And, a lot of times people think, well, I need you to open the door and that's it. And, I do have the access to open the door, but that's really just a small, tiny percentage of, why people come to us and need us for the transaction.
Exactly. Now tell me about where you live and where you work and what's great about your city.
Well, I actually was born and raised in Walnut Creek where I work. And, it's been interesting. I'm going to be 45, coming up here in February, so I've been here for a long time. And the city itself has changed, quite a lot since I was a kid. When I was growing up in Walnut Creek, it was, in my mind, it was, the boonies. There was nothing going on out here. And now Walnut Creek is really, a radically different place. It's on the map. People know about Walnut Creek, when you go traveling. It's like when you mention where you're from, I used to always say, oh, San Francisco Bay Area. And then they would, whereabouts? Now if I say Walnut Creek, it's likely that somebody would say, oh, I was just there, or my daughter lives there. People are moving out to Walnut Creek because it is, it's a city that's always in the black, got plenty of money, There's a lot of great reasons why people come here. This is a place where if you want to buy your Bentley, now you go to the Bentley store. It's got the Tiffany's downtown.
Wow.
It's got Neiman Marcus. We've got all of these, really high end, kind of companies that have opened up shop here, which is radically different from when I was a kid.
I bet.
I know a lot of the people who grew up here feel that the town character has completely changed, and in a lot of ways it has. Mm-hmm. Now we're catering to a different kind of lifestyle in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
The downtown is been designed to be very walkable. The BART system that's one of our main public transportations in the area. There's 2 BART stations within the Walnut Creek city limit. And, people come out from San Francisco, they can come out for the day. There's, 95 plus restaurants in Walnut Creek downtown alone. And so any kind of cuisine that you want to eat is here. We've got the Dean Lesher Center, which brings in, various, theater and musical performances. So, we've got a lot, that attracts people from out of the area just to even come in for the day.
Well, sounds amazing.
So Walnut Creek is, it's a great place for people to live. And then, on top of that, as far as the regional open spaces surrounding the city, Walnut Creek has, I believe the last time I heard, Walnut Creek, I think, was second only to Palo Alto, California, for having the most regional open spaces in California.
Oh,
so
nice.
We've got, Walnut Creek backs up to the base of Mount Diablo, and throughout, the Mount Diablo region, there's all different kinds of regional open spaces, and so if you're into hiking and biking and horseback riding, we've got miles and miles and miles and miles and miles.
That's fantastic. Now, when you were talking before about Bentleys and Tiffany's, it sounds like a very affluent area, and I'm just wondering.
It has become rather affluent.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So how does that, in terms of real estate, the rents must be very, very high. Would you say that buying is almost cheaper than renting there?
Well, when we've looked at the past couple of years with the interest rates for obtaining a 30-year fixed loan, I would say yes. And a lot of, we get a lot of clients calling us, who are paying, really astronomically high rents. And, they're looking to take advantage of the low interest rates and, get themselves into a house where they can own. Because,
how much are they paying for rent?
Well, it's not unheard of for somebody to be paying, over $3,000 a month.
Oh my gosh!
For a little home.
Wow,
a little place of, maybe 1,200 square feet. 3,000 plus.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
One bedrooms. If you can find a 1 bedroom in Walnut Creek for $1,000 a month, you're lucky. So that's that adds up. If somebody is going to be paying $3,000 a month, geez, that's $36,000 a year that person is spending
throwing away
to rent a roof, basically.
Yeah.
So if you add that up,
they're helping someone else pay their mortgage.
5 years of rent at that price, they've spent well over, that's about $180,000, over a 5-year period. So if you figure, would you rather be in a situation, after 5 years that you could possibly be up, by $180,000, even if you were just broke even after 5 years? It would be better than being down for sure, $180,000. So I think it's not difficult for people to wrap their mind around home ownership when it comes to the Bay Area. And a lot of times when I'm representing a seller and, we aggressively market, and I use all of the means that are possible. And, with Facebook and advertising on Facebook being, a new tool for us, we get a lot of feedback. It's a two-way system, and we get a lot of interaction.
Right away.
And sometimes the people who are seeing the prices, who've lived here their whole lives and remember what it was like, they're just, they're stunned at what some of these properties are going for in today's market. And, so we get a lot of people, various opinions about our pricing. And the reality is that, the demographics are changing, and they're continuing to change. And with the Silicon Valley, driving up the kind of people who come to the area, and with what the salaries that those people are earning, it has driven up the value of property in proximity to where they work. And that's why a lot of times people would love to live on the peninsula, but they can't afford it there. A little shack that's falling down is going to be $2 million. So, and then they look, well, where else can I put my money? And as you radiate farther, out from, the two major centers, which is going to be, probably San Jose and San Francisco, your money will go farther. And as they get out here to where we primarily focus our business out in the East Bay, their money goes further. And, schools, are good out here, and that's what attracts a lot of the change. But over time, values go up, and they're going to continue to do that. And we're already seeing some of the other areas that were very depressed in the downturn. They're starting to pick back up. A lot more activity happening. Vallejo, which was I think a bankrupt city at this point, has been named within the top 10 places for real estate growth in the nation.
Wow, that's great.
So
you mentioned,
there's a lot of stuff going on here.
Now you mentioned that you have a partner named Simon. So tell me, what are your guiding principles as business people? Well,
I know for me, ethics is huge. Having integrity around what you do for a living is really important for me, and professionalism. And I'm driven by those two things in my business principles. My practice needs to reflect kind of my internal state, which I think that I can project confidence, partly because I stay on top of the things that are important in my industry, and business practice is we practice our principles, we practice our knowledge, and if we don't continue to put time and effort into our education and continue to learn, then we're going to get stale. If you're going to go cut down a forest, if you're the woodcutter who doesn't stop and sharpen your axe, it's going to take a lot more effort, and you're probably not going to succeed in cutting down, the forest that you need to. Right. So, we feel that it's very important, to take the time out and, further our education and, go to the legal seminars that are available for us and learn what's going on. And we're able to look a client in the eye and give them, this straight dope about what's going on in the current market. If we have to tell somebody, the hard facts about a property that they're going to be selling, I'm not going to mince words. They're bringing me in for a professional opinion, and so if I don't get to work with somebody because they don't like what I have to say, that's fine. That's better for me. I need our clients to be open to the professional guidance and advice that we're there for.
Absolutely, and I think that's probably why they hire you, because they want you to just tell the truth and be that person for them.
Yeah, I I tell a lot of sellers when I come in, I say, look, I'm not going to take a listing that I can't sell.
Yeah.
For me, it doesn't make any sense to, for me to do that. Mm-hmm. I know that that sometimes sellers are very optimistic with what they think their home might be worth. Mm-hmm. And, if it doesn't match with what the data says for me and for what my feeling about the property, if that doesn't match up, that's not the right listing for me. You're going to find somebody else to sell your home.
Yeah, what happens?
Because I would rather, I would just rather, if somebody thinks, I think the home is worth, $500,000 and they think it's worth $550,000. If we look at the data and the data says $500,000 and they go, yeah, it says 500, but I think $550,000. I'm not going to give them the green light to go on the market at $550,000 because my professional opinion says $500,000. Mm-hmm. And so, that may be different than other agents that are out there, mm-hmm. but I would rather walk away from something like that.
Yeah, so that's what you do. I mean, do you explain to them why you need to price it the way you want to price it, or sometimes I guess people are really stubborn.
So. Yeah, no, very much so. I think that for a complex set of circumstances that can affect bottom line, mm-hmm. it's important for the dynamics to be revealed, and you can do that. And I understand how to break down the process. When it comes to understanding what drives buyers, to make a decision about buying, mm-hmm. There's very, tried and true sets of, processes as you go through. A house that is personalized for one person, that's not going to help in the sale. So a lot of times when we come in, if we get resistance about somebody wanting to take down their personal pictures or repaint a wall, something that, it may take effort, may take money, they feel like, well, this is my house. Well, that's true. But, you got to remember that when you moved in here, likely it wasn't personalized for you. Mm-hmm. And over the time that you've been living in the home, you personalized the property. And basically we're doing the opposite now. You're going from, your personalized space and you want to depersonalize it. You want it clean, decluttered, and depersonalized. Neutral. Something that is not going to draw somebody's specific attention on the people who live there and the life and what they do. You might have a great, set of grandkids, but, you don't want a potential buyer coming in and focusing on, whose grandkids are those, because mm-hmm. What they're not doing at that point is that they're not focusing where their attention needs to be, which is on the house. Absolutely. So that's why, and I think if somebody is explained, what the rationale is for, why they need to do things in a certain way, they will do them. And, that's our experience is that, the sellers, they come to us, we give them the advice and then they follow it. Mm-hmm. And I don't get, fights about people putting their personal pictures away, but I go into plenty of homes and I see, homes that are for sale that have not been depersonalized. And I know that hurts, their traffic because we bring buyers in. We walk through with our buyers and I see firsthand the first thing that they do. And I know the first thing that I do. If I see personal pictures in there, that's what I'm going and looking at. Mm-hmm. And it detracts from, the overall picture that the house is supposed to imprint on a buyer. Buyers come in. Staging is very important, and we discuss, the reasons why staging is important, because there's a segment of the population that just does not really have the ability to visualize themselves in a space unless they have some key things, to go off of, key dimensions, beds in the rooms, a chair, a table. Those are things that, anchor dimensions for the people who, have a harder time projecting. Mm-hmm. And when they see a bed in a room, they can say, oh, our bed is a little bit bigger than that. I think that's not a queen. That might be, a full-size bed. Yeah. We've got a queen. I think it'll fit in here. Mm-hmm. Right? With no bed in there, maybe one of the partners can see, but the other can't.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of little things like that we go through in great detail with our clients.
And I noticed on your bio that you used to be a teacher, so your teaching background must really help a lot.
Yeah, education is, it's very important. I think I would be, still in education if our education system wasn't so focused on testing. I think that really, I spent a good number of years in education that I don't know, I really got turned off because, and I think it turns off a lot of potential teachers, because you might be a fantastic, educator, but if all you can do is, make sure that the kids, are getting, high scores on a test, that's not much of an education in my opinion.
No, but what I mean is, I think that you combine, being able to educate your buyers and sellers with what they don't know. You can, based on your experience,
definitely.
It's just a fantastic way of, instead of saying, look, I'm just going to walk away from this listing because they don't understand, then you can maybe help them understand, and whereas someone else might actually lose a listing, you will win that listing because you help them understand why you need to do the things that you need to do.
Well, it's, in some ways these kinds of things are fundamental. I think a confused mind always says no. And so, true. If you need a yes, and what you're hearing is a no, that's an opportunity for you to help somebody, flesh out, what their objection is. And I think that, a lot of, there's a lot of my colleagues, they try to project themselves out there as, being consultants. Okay, well, a consultant, consults. And I don't think we really, I think it's a little disingenuous to, say, oh, I'm a consultant. You know what? I'm a salesperson, and, and I make my living off of a sale. I don't come in and charge a fee, for my consultation. I don't get paid unless escrow closes. So I'm not really a consultant in the same way that other consultants are consultants.
Right. You got to put your money where your mouth is.
And as a consultant, you've got an opinion that, is, worthy of somebody listening to. So you need to be able to explain why you have that opinion. There may be some people who don't care. Say, whatever, I trust you. But a lot of people want to know what the reasoning is behind, your suggestions. So, it's important for me to be able to break those things down and explain them. And I enjoy that. That's part of, that maybe that's one of the things I like about, the industry and my job is that I get to, analyze what my thinking process is and help people understand what's driving, the market, or why we do things a certain way. Pricing is very, very important. I have a very strong opinion about how things should be priced, and, and not everybody shares the same opinion about it. I can break down why I think my pricing strategy is superior to someone else's. And if somebody can come to me and break down their process, and I look at it and go, well, you know what, that's better than mine, I'll start using that. But that's how I approach things. I
bet that makes you a good negotiator.
Yeah, well, negotiations is, that's a skill, just like anything. Sales is a skill, negotiations is a skill, and education is very important. I'm one of probably 1,600 people that hold the Master Certified Negotiation, expert designation.
Really?
But
wow.
In order to get that, you have to go through a training. It's, it takes time, it takes money, and then it takes the effort to, learn what those processes are.
Right.
And, but, when you're going through negotiations, the important thing to remember is that as the negotiator, to keep your emotions in check, which is hard.
Yeah.
Because we're people too. And a lot of times when you get into, the negotiations. If the other side is a little bit heated, you got to step back and use, your skill sets to help move the process forward.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah.
I just love it. It's great. It's just a great field. It's certainly not for everybody. I think it does take a very specific kind of person to work in real estate. Mm-hmm. And a lot of folks, would think we're crazy for doing what we do, because we work all the time.
Yeah.
We know,
you do. Yeah, but you must need to take some holidays.
No break.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about, when we were speaking before, you mentioned some of the volunteering you do with your company. I think you called it Red Day. Was that right?
Oh, yeah. So,
tell me about Red Day.
So Red Day is a day at Keller Williams that is to help, commemorate Mo Anderson, who's, one of the big names in Keller Williams. She's, kind of one of the leaders that's, really kind of the heart of Keller Williams, the compassion side. And so to commemorate her birthday every year, every Keller Williams office in the country, and I think now, now that we're international, around the world, we dedicate one day a year to public service, giving back to the community.
Oh, that's great.
So each year, every office will pick, some organization, some cause, and dedicate the whole day, to that effort.
Oh, that's amazing.
We've done. It's all, every office is generally picking a local cause. So some years we've gone in and rehabbed a school, or we rehabbed a battered women's shelter one year. One year we did Meals on Wheels. One year we volunteered with, a local, charity, the White Pony Express, and they give, like surplus food from that's collected from the various grocery stores, and then they do a delivery to other organizations that distribute, food. Really, really good causes.
Yeah, and I've heard that Keller Williams has donated millions and millions and millions of dollars. So they just do so much for the community. That's fantastic.
One of the reasons I'm with Keller Williams is because it's a little bit different corporate structure than most of the big name real estate firms. It's it was originally a real estate firm that was founded by realtors for realtors, and to build businesses that are worth having and life's worth living. So
that's great. Yeah.
it's been a great place for me, to hang my license since I moved over here, and I've been with Keller Williams since 2006. And the idea that it's important to give back. It's important to put your higher power first, whatever that may be, and dedicate yourself to your family, and then make work something that you can go to every day and enjoy and build and grow.
Yeah.
And with the Red Day, that's just one example. But before that, I think I'd mentioned to you that I had joined up with Rotary back. I think it was 2009. We started a new club. So I was a charter member of a Walnut Creek Rotary Club, the Dialogue Rotary Club. And I dedicated a good 4 years to that, and I really, really like Rotary as a service organization.
Oh, me too.
I will, at some point I'll probably go back and rejoin. It's just, I think we were such a young club that over time, I had mentioned to you that kind of the internal structure between the members, it got a little bit too much for me. It was a little bit too divided for my liking, and I just decided to take my time and efforts in other places. And then I had a little girl 3 years ago. We got a beautiful daughter now, and so a lot of my efforts now is kind of focused on my business and family. So
yeah. And it's funny how there are seasons in your life where, before you have kids, you have a lot more time to be doing community work, I notice. And now, as my kids are older, I still do different kinds of community work. Like my teenage daughter comes with me when I volunteer at the food bank and things like that. And it's just...
Yeah, that's great. Well, the food bank that's a good example of something that you can do. Mm-hmm. And you can do, like I look forward to, once my daughter gets to be a little bit older, I'll be really looking forward to, bringing her into those kinds of situations where we can, work at the food bank and, it's, it's a fun time, and I think it instills very, very good, values. And, this is the kind of thing that we need in our society today.
I know.
Is more focus on, more than just the individual.
Yeah, and just giving back. So, that's what I think makes you a real estate game changer. And that's why I wanted to have you on the program today, because I think that you have such a great balance of, really strong business skills and a real go-getter and, and really advocating for your clients, but also understanding the family values and having all your priorities in the right place. So thank you so much for coming on the show today, David.
Well, I'm flattered that you contacted me, and it makes me feel good that my efforts that I put out there, and I do take a lot of pride in it. Mm-hmm. Get recognized.
That's great.
It's nice.
Well, thank you. So tell our listeners how they can reach you if they'd like to chat with you further about real estate.
Well, if you want to find me, my name is very unique. If you can remember Zabarte with a Z. Mm-hmm. Anybody with my last name is related. So we're a small group.
Hey, David?
I'm David. I'm David at davidzabarte.com for email. They can call me on my number 925-330-3346. You can find me on Facebook. I'm at I think basically if somebody just pops my name into Google, there's enough that'll come up. They'll find me. So David Zabarte.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much, David Zabarte, and I really appreciate you being on the show today. Thanks again for your time.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks so much, Suzanne.
This has been another episode of Real Estate Game Changers Radio with your host, Suzanne Doyle Ingram. To hear all episodes featuring our hand-picked real estate game changers, visit us online at www.realestategamechangersradio.com.